over, and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. We'll get to the promised land. We'll get to the promised land.
Romans killing riotous groups that are rising up.
As I turned around quickly, and the next thing I saw was Malcolm falling back in a dead faint.
Killing any potential threat, any potential messiah.
Dr. King left his room, 306, at the Lorraine Hotel just before dinner to get some air. He walked over to the railing at this spot, and noticing some friends below, he leaned over and began to speak with them. Police say 205 feet away, in a window in a flop house, the assassin waited.
Killing any potential threat, any potential messiah.
And Rob, some call that deadly raid the massacre on Monroe Street. Black Panther leaders Fred Hampton and Mark Clark were killed. Fred Hampton and Mark Clark were killed. Fred Hampton and Mark Clark were killed.
Right? Now look at these. I'm telling you, I gotta show y'all. A picture speaks 1,000 words. Just look for yourself. And this is the creme de la creme. All praises be to the Most High Yah. Everything we've been through, y'all, the Most High is going to retribute it on all the nations that have had a hand in the oppression of his apple, the apple of his eye, his chosen people, his beloved, his fervent lover, his only begotten. They're going to have their part in the lake of fire. You see them tormented by some kind of creature. I don't even know what that even is, y'all. Judgment in chains. He that led into captivity shall go into captivity. All praise to the Most High Yah. It said, thou that dwells in the clefts of the rock. Whoa, I know a lot of y'all know about the Caucasus Mountains. Let's just let the word speak. Let's go to verse 4. Though you exalt yourself as the eagle, and though you set thy nest among the stars. What's up, Zion Dynasty? This is your favorite locked and loaded Israelite. Your boy, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. JB Zion. Y'all already know what to do. Show me some love, and I'm back again with another banger. All praises, honor, glory, dominion, majesty, world without end to the mighty one of Jacob, the holy one of Israel, the restorer of Zion, the lifter up of our heads, the resurrector of the greatest nation to ever live, the Most High Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh. All praises be to the Most High Yah. Yes, Yoruba, B'nai Ephraim of the tribe of Joseph, i.e. an Israelite. First, I want to say peace, love, blessings, and black power to the chosen race of the Most High Yah. All my Israelite brothers and sisters, y'all like an army. Like, you be like gang on YouTube. Y'all go deep, y'all go hard. I just love y'all with everything that's in me. I couldn't do this without y'all. I'm so excited just to know all of y'all. So many of y'all, I can't even name everybody my names. I just have to thank y'all from the bottom of my heart for all the words of inspiration, all the just comparing me to legends, just keeping your boy motivated, dropping topics, just having scriptures to supplement. I just could not do this without y'all. Also, all of our Gentile brothers and sisters.
Not those that's on here trolling though, cause I know y'all be here.
But we want all the smoke. We got all the smoke. Because we come with all the facts and all the receipts. But all my sincere Gentiles, all those that are supporting Zion, supporting this work to resurrect the dry bones of Ezekiel, to raise up the elect, the apple of the Most High Yah's eye, right? I thank you all for just rocking with Israel, not being lost in the sauce. All those that ain't lost in the sauce, not getting caught up in all these Christian urban apologist groups that seek to undermine Yah's people, even though they want to be grafted into this guy's house. It's amazing. They want to live in the Father's house, but they hate his firstborn children. I can't fathom that. But I thank you, Gentiles, because y'all have some faith that I have never seen. Alan Duckman, it's a lot of y'all, right? It's some that y'all be surprised how many that cash out the channel, that say we support you, JB. that are Gentiles, right? And the Most High is gonna have mercy on them. And we're gonna talk about the whole Gentile thing and the kingdom in this video. But first, y'all, before you do anything else, y'all already know what to do. Like, comment, share, subscribe. If you're not subscribed,
What are you doing? What are you doing?
join the movement, y'all, because this the channel where we doing all these things. We dropping these facts, we dropping these receipts, we putting Negro, finding Negro DNA, E1B1A, EP2 in the land of Israel, Harvard study style.
Harvard study style.
Not just that, but we got professors like Tudor Parfit in his book, The Black Jews of Africa and the Americas. I bring these books up, y'all, because y'all get these scholarship to hem up anybody that try to come at you. I want my people, I want my nation, I want us to have these resources that we can use as credibility. Not just Harvard, the Harvard DNA study, the Harvard Dr. Tudor Parfit, but Oxford, Dr. Edith Bruder in her book, The Black Jews of Africa. We got these receipts. Not just that, but your boy has investigated the very tribes that we come from as so-called African Americans. We've looked at the West African tribes that we come from. If you do your 23andMe, if you do your JED match, if you do your My True Ancestry, if you do your African ancestry, you will be linked to these specific West African tribes, like the Igbo, like the Yoruba, like the Ashanti, like the Limba, right? You will be going back to these Akan, these West African, these South African tribal groups, these sub-Saharan Negroes, that their oral tradition goes back to the land of Israel. Not just that, but we took the oral tradition of the Yoruba and verified that thing with Cambridge author Ulysses Santa Maria. We got DNA, buku, we got science, oral tradition, we got White House memorandum talking about the Igbo Jews. Not just that, but we got the Library of Congress about the Negro slave that came to the Americas deaf and dumb, yet was writing Hebrew. Yeah, was speaking Hebrew. We looked at our ancestors that was singing spirituals like Kumbaya or Kumbayas Yah. It's too many facts. I got a slave voyages database that has Yah in more than half of the slaves that came to the Americas name. I repeat, more than half of them slaves had Yah or El in their name. They had Hebrew in their name. But not just that, on that website, it calls the Igbo the Hebo. So y'all, this is the, let's go! This is the channel where we don't just talk about it, we be about it. We got Bible prophecy that says you shall go into Egypt again on slave cargo ships, that you would go as swift as the eagle flies with a yoke of iron around your neck. Speaking about that eagle, we proved who that eagle is in Bible prophecy. That eagle is the symbol of Edom or Esau, who will be the last ruling empire. Y'all check out that History of Esau series where we talked about how the beast that Daniel saw in Daniel chapter 7 was the very last element of the statue that Daniel had already seen. The 10 toes of the statue of the last empire that would rule. The image was an eagle because we had to go to the hidden book of 2nd Esdras that said he saw an eagle come out of the sea. Just like he saw the eagle come out the sea in Revelation 13, he says, the Apostle John says, that he saw the 4th beast come up out of the sea, which is the beast that Daniel saw, and Ezra says it's an eagle. So we've been going through these prophecies, proving who we are, proving who these nations are in these end times, that Esau, Edom, these European Romans led by America would be the last ruling empire that would trample down Yah's people in captivity, and to our people are delivered by our Messiah, return back to Zion, and we rule world without end. You rule Bob and Ephraim of the tribe of Joseph. So y'all, your boy, we do these things, y'all. Y'all let the new people know we in this thing, y'all. We do this. And welcome to everybody that's joining for the first time. I know y'all like, man, what is this cat? This is how I am. I get excited, y'all. I just am so passionate about the season we are in prophetically as a people. The curse is being lifted actively. And a lot of y'all are asking about that. Well, what you saying, JB? I don't know if the curse is over. This is a process. Understand that the plagues of Egypt did not happen overnight. That this was a series of judgments, a transitional series where Yah was bringing down one nation, bringing down one empire, and slowly exalting his people above all nations. Let's go! Wow! And we are living in that time period, family. So in today's video, we're gonna go ahead and go into that thing, y'all. We are gonna be talking about, is the Black Revolution, this idea of a black king, is this biblical? And we're gonna go deeper into that concept, and we're gonna explain the millennial reign. Now, a lot of y'all may or may not be familiar with end time prophecy, eschatology, when you look at the book of Daniel, when you look at the book of Revelation, but we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about the 3.5 years a little bit, Jacob's trouble, a basic schematic of what's gonna be going on in the end times. Now, if y'all are studying this stuff, reading your scriptures like you should be, Matthew 24, study that thing. Daniel chapters 7, 9, and 12, or the whole book of Daniel really, because he goes through the statue. That statue explains all the empires that will rule the earth before Yeshua comes back. That last empire being this new Roman Empire. Some people say the Roman Catholic Church, but that is a religion. That is not an empire, right? That is the false prophet, that when you look at the false prophet, the Antichrist, and I think it's the beast, the false prophet, and the Antichrist, when you look at that triune unity, the false prophet is Roman Catholicism. That's the Roman religion. The people of Rome, Edom, would be ruling. So you can't say the Roman Catholics is the last ruling empire of Daniel's statue. That's the religion. That's the religious system. Just like Babylon had a religious system. So we're going to talk about this stuff, y'all. Eschatology. And we're going to also go into the concept of the Gentiles. Now, this is not talking about Hellenized Israelites. Y'all, we went through that. We talked about in Israel Redivitus that when you look at salvation in terms of the covenant, the gospel, that these Gentiles that the apostles were going after were actually Hellenized Israelites. We looked at in John chapter 7. Let's deal with it. In John chapter 7, verse 35, the Pharisee says, "Where shall Christ go where we cannot find him? Shall he go to the dispersed among the Gentiles and teach the Gentiles?" Now, we already knew from Matthew 15:24 that Yeshua said, "I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel." The confusion is, well, what about the Gentiles? The Gentiles that we are notoriously known for hearing about are actually Israelites.
Well, JB, that's just not so. That ain't my Jesus. That ain't my Jesus.
We ain't dealing with your Jesus. Your Jesus does not exist. White Jesus of Christianity does not exist. We talking about the historical man. We talking about the black Messiah. We talking about Mary's baby, the carpenter's son, YESHUA ben Yosef, the true Mashiach. His mission was the Father's mission, to regather Zion. Now, we talked about the purpose of the Messiah. The Messiah comes to electrify and unify the 12 tribes that have been scattered and the ones that lived in Judea. Because you had Israelites during the time of Christ, like Peter, James, John, the apostles, that lived in Judea. But you also had Israelites that had been scattered to various regions through subsequent captivities. The Assyrian, the Babylons, the Medes, the Persians. The Greeks was big. That's why when you see neither Jew nor Greek, this is talking about Hellenist. Now, it's a lot of history, y'all. Acts chapter 6, verse 1. The scripture says that there was a murmuring between the Jews, or the Hebrews, and the Grecians. If you look at that word Grecians in the Greek, it's actually Hellenist. So you have to understand, that get yourself a concordance, family, that when it's talking about Grecians or Greeks, these were Hellenized Greek-speaking Israelites. That's who the gospel was for. We looked at a hidden chapter that they took out of the Bible. My Sefer Bible, and if you guys have a Sefer Bible, y'all can vouch for this, has a secret chapter of Acts. Acts chapter 29, where it reveals that Paul's mission to Spain was to seek out these lost sheep. So Paul's mission to the Gentiles, the 12's mission to the Gentiles, like Peter and James, we looked at in 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 1. Peter, the chief apostle, said that I'm sent this letter to the scattered that live among all these different regions. James, the very brother of Yeshua, said that his letter was greetings to the 12 tribes scattered. So the apostles, they went to the four corners of the earth to have a black revolution, to preach the gospel of the kingdom, to restore y'all's family and remind them that our Father has not forsaken us, y'all. See, these Christian urban apologists say,
y'all just preaching a hate message. You're preaching sin doctrine.
First of all, it's not melanation, but a chosen nation. We're dealing with a lineage. It has nothing to do with your pigmentation. I'm trying to tell y'all. So you might have somebody like Blake Griffin's son that's E1B1A, but he looks white, right? So we're not looking at what somebody looks like. That's the deception. So it's not skin doctrine.
Well, even if you're talking about Israel, you know, they rejected Yeshua.
Okay, if y'all keep saying that, I hear Christians say that all the time.
Well, you know that they rejected Yeshua. They're the reason they said crucify him.
Understand the predetermined counsel of the Most High. Now, you Christians say that same Yeshua was ordained as the lamb slain from the foundation of the earth. That goes back to Genesis 22 when Abraham offered up his son Isaac. Now, how can you say that, then say the Jewish people got him crucified? This was the will of the Father. I know y'all read Isaiah 53. This was already ordained.
Well, since they were the tool that did it, the Most High turned his back on them because they rejected him and he went to another people.
Okay, he went to another people. What race was Peter? Yeah. What race was Paul? What ethnicity were the 12 apostles and all the majority of the early church? These were Israelites. So we know just based on common sense that he didn't turn his back on them because he used the Israelites to spread the gospel. Yes, there were some that rejected him that lived in Israel. Mainly the religious leaders, we talking about the Pharisees. Yeah, you had some false witnesses that the prophecy said would be risen up to falsely testify against Yeshua. But this was not an eternal indictment against all of Israel. We know this is not so. For the Most High said, every time you see the sun, every time you see the moon, every time you see the stars and the waves roaring and the strength thereof, the Most High never give up on Zion. So we've been dealing with this stuff in the kingdom, y'all. We've been dealing with this kingdom series and showing Israel now and Israel forever. So in this video, we're going to go into what does this stuff look like, JB? Tell us about the millennial reign. What about the Gentiles? Not the Israelites, but what about the other nations? Are they going to be destroyed? We're about to deal with So first, family, now that we've established that Gentiles that were dealing with salvation, these were actually Hellenized Israelites, we're going to give you a basic schematic of how this thing is going to go. So, first of all, according to the Gospels, according to the gospel of the kingdom, first Messiah has to get the gospel preached, or the gospel has to be preached to the four corners of the earth, right? The purpose of the Messiah coming was first to regather all of Israel, right? Restore us, turn us back to the Most High Yah, and take us back to Zion. Now, concurrently to us going back to the land of Israel, the rumors of wars, the war of Gog and Magog, Russia's supposed to get involved. America's gonna get involved. China's gonna get involved. We know this through prophecy. Now, y'all check out some of those older videos about NATO and about Gog and Magog. We went into detail about Russia, the Khazarian Jews, and how that plays a role. But basically, the nations are going to be warring because according to Joel chapter 3, the Most High is bringing all these nations to their own destruction. Well, I even dropped a nugget about Thanos using Tony Stark's gauntlet was almost a prophetic pop culture kind of tease to the fact that the Most High is gonna use the nations and all these bombs and all their devastation. He's gonna use that against them, right? So the nations are gonna be warned. We're living in a season like that, Zion. While our people are awakening and the gospel of who we are, the gospel of the kingdom, the gospel that Yeshua will reunite, come back together, and be restored as a nation, that is going to be going on at the same time, right? Now we see Yeshua. Let's deal with Yeshua. Now I talked about the grace package and the mystery of Yeshua. This is chess, not checkers. We have a lot of Israelites that have a stumbling block in their mind with regard to Yeshua. Let me just keep it straight with y'all. You can believe in the Most High raising up an Israelite because he's doing it as we speak, as I'm talking to you. He's been using this platform. He's been using different camps. He's been using different brothers, Teo Ministries. It's so many that we could name. Minister Dante, just a lot of us doing this work so he can use his people in the faith of Yeshua at the same time. Our people have this stumbling block mindset of believing Messiah and saying, well, man, JB, you know, the Romans crucified him, and are we waiting for the son of David? Understand that he first had to come to die. I had some Israelites come against me for this stuff. That's why I'm going through this. YESHUA would have been unsuccessful in getting us back to the land of Israel from a spiritual standpoint because of the curses of Deuteronomy 28. Whenever Israel violated and were not obedient to the Most High Yah, when they went into battle against the nations, they got tore out the frame, y'all. If one of them did it, we saw that with Achan, I believe, of the tribe of Judah, when he did what he did, right? When he stole some of the holy thing that the Most High said, destroy everything. He stole something and it cost our people. So if there's any sin on our people, that has to be atoned for, which is why the Messiah had to atone for that, which is why, according to Daniel, the Messiah had to be cut off, not for himself, but for the people. We see this in Isaiah 53, how he was wounded for our transgressions and bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him. He had to fulfill that lamb sacrificial offering, because we know sacrifice came to a cease during the time of YESHUA, when Rome destroyed the temple, when Rome trampled and the temple was destroyed. Our people didn't make sacrifice.
Well, you know, JB, what about the Igbo and the Yoruba and some of them? They doing sacrifice. They doing pre-exilic Yahwism in Africa.
I understand that. But what you need to understand is we come from them folks. And we in America. And I don't have no goat in my backyard. So I bring this up to let you guys know that the Messiah first had to come. In his death, atone for Israel. In his death, create a chess situation where the nations gleaned from his life. They were attracted like flies to the light, to their own detriment. That is those holy scriptures. They took that Bible, weaponized it under the Council of Nicaea, but spread it to the four corners of the earth. Understand, that was YESHUA's mission the whole time. This is chess, not checkers. YESHUA had to die for multiple reasons. It was the most masterful chess situation in history. It was checkmate on multiple angles. In his death, he atoned for our sins. In his death, he created a world religion scenario through the way he lived. He knew that many false Christs would rise up. They would take his life, weaponize it, spread it to the four corners of the earth. Y'all like,
Well, how do you know all that, JB?
The Most High Yah, I'm telling y'all. So he knew, let's go, I'm telling y'all. YESHUA knew these things. He allowed this gospel to go everywhere through his death, that all the Most High Yah had to do was wake us up to the understanding. Now we know who we are, and now he's already created a black revolution ticking time bomb that's gonna force the hand of Satan. The nation's gonna get scared, war gonna pop off, and we gonna go through the very flames. Them chariots gonna show up in the sky, shooters on the roof, and we going back to, oh my goodness, Marv, we going back to Zion, family. I'm telling y'all, this stuff, we're living in the greatest times in human history. I ain't kidding y'all. So we saw in Acts chapter 1, verse 6, Peter says, Lord, at this time are you going to establish the kingdom? YESHUA said it ain't time yet. I need y'all to get this Holy Spirit, the Spirit that's in me, and preach this gospel. We have to spread this message to get shooters ready, to get Israelite zealots on standby, to raise up Zion in the lands of their captivity. So I need to get y'all to go ahead and be emissaries. I need y'all to be envoys. I need y'all to go and spread this gospel, spread this news that YESHUA coming back for Israel, and that we're going to be lifted up. So YESHUA knew that it ain't time yet, Peter, but just know it's coming. But first, y'all got to spread the gospel. So we know the gospel has to go forth. YESHUA in Matthew 24 said there's going to be wars, rumors of wars. The gospel of the kingdom has to go forth. All of this is going at the same time. False Christs are going to raise up. You already got the Christian institution of white Jesus going through telling folks,
You know, that's a hate speech. That's a hate doctrine. They're a cult. The SPLC labels them a hate group. That this cult of Hebrew Israelism.
So you got to have that going on at the same time. You got to have Israel getting the gospel of the kingdom, spreading it to all the diaspora. That's the purpose of Zion Dynasty. And you have to have these wars intensify to culminate in the war of Gog and Magog. Now, a lot of y'all are like, well, what's going to happen next, JB? Okay, after these things pop off and our people are taken back to Zion, you're going to see an Al-Andalus type situation. Y'all are like, what the world is Al-Andalus? As we see, our people before ruled the earth for about 800 years. Wait, what? During the time of the Jews and the Moors of Spain, and a lot of those Moors, some of them practiced Islam, and we went into, that's where the Nation of Islam comes from. But during the time of Al-Andalus, in around 711 CE, all the way to 1492, our people ruled Spain. This is a foreshadowment, Zion, to let you think about what's going to happen. The millennial reign. When Messiah comes back, reunites our people, gets us back to the land, the Most High Yah is going to rule using his people Israel for a millennia. Now this is where y'all like, well, what's going to happen next, Zion? What's going to happen next? After Christ rules, we get into the whole new heaven, new earth, great white throne judgment scenario. Now that's a whole nother video, but we just gonna deal with during the time of the kingdom. And I'm gonna do a follow-up going into the great white throne judgment, the world without end, the great reset. And that's a whole nother deep, I don't wanna take y'all there and get y'all lost. But basically, Yeshua's gonna come, the Messiah is gonna return, unify all of the diaspora, take us back to Africa, take us back to Zion, judge the nations, and y'all's people are gonna rule in the age to come. Now we looked at the Cultural Roots Study Bible where they talk about the age to come and how Israel was meant to rule. We saw in Acts chapter 1 verse 6. Also, we saw in Deuteronomy chapter 11 verse 21 that when your seed is multiplied in the land that I promised you, it shall be as the days of heaven on earth. This is Moses talking. We talked about how Yeshua already knew that he would regather the lost sheep. That was his mission, to be the Messiah for his people. Salvation is of the Jews. So we see this all throughout the Bible of Israel being restored, Israel being regathered, going back to the land. We saw that in Leviticus 26. We saw that in Deuteronomy 30, where he says that after I bring all these curses upon you, I ain't gonna forget my people. We saw this in Joel 3. So after all these things happen and we go back to Zion, this is where you're going to see our time, Zion. This is where we see prophecy such as the wealth of the wicked is laid up for the just. This is when this is going to take place. The nations, the ones that's left after the fallout, are going to cleave to Jacob. And we're going to talk about Isaiah 14 in today's video, and we're going to go ahead and jump into it. So in Isaiah chapter 14, beginning at verse 1, it says, for the Most High Yah will have mercy on Yaakov, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob, all praises. Now we're going to go through a couple of verses in there, y'all, but let's first look at that. The Most High says, I will yet choose Israel. Now this goes into the heartbeat, family. This goes into the heartbeat of what we've been talking about. That through it all, y'all gotta hear what I'm saying. Through the alligator bait, through us rebelling against our Father, through us showing our rump and wanting to be like the other nations, out here running the Coliseum games, out here twerking, out here being incarcerated, out here killing each other, black on black crime, in the midst of all these curses, in the midst of all the plagues, in the midst of Yah turning his back on his people, he said, I'm gonna yet choose Jacob. That means despite what they done, despite what they went through, I'm still gonna choose my people, and I'm gonna put them back in their own land. So y'all, there's so many scriptures about us going back to Zion. We went to Leviticus 26 that says I'm taking you back to the land. We went to Deuteronomy 30 that says I'm taking you back to the land. Peter in Acts 1:6 says, are you going to do it right now, Yeshua? We see Deuteronomy 11:21 where Moses says he going to take us back to the land. Now we see Isaiah chapter 14. So I don't know how many precepts, but I know a lot of y'all need these precepts. Not the ones that's trying to learn, but some of y'all just, well, I ain't convinced. Well, then we're going to go through these precepts. So in Isaiah chapter 14, he says, I will yet choose my people. I have not forgotten about Zion. Not to mention Jeremiah 31, that where we see that he's going to make a renewed covenant with our people. And every time you see the sun, the moon, and the stars, Israel will exist as a nation. So this is that end time scenario. So we see the Most High Yah say he gonna have mercy on Jacob, and he's still gonna choose Israel, despite them, despite the church and the Christian doctrine of replacement theology, despite the nations and the red button that America gonna push, despite Russia puffed up as that great bear, despite all these things, the Most High said that ain't gonna affect my decision one jot or one tittle. Let's deal with it. And set them in their own land, the land that I swore to give them, the land that I promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Yaakov. And watch this, family. And the strangers shall be joined with them. These are Gentiles, family. And they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. There is going to be a remnant, family, that sees how they almost got destroyed and by the grace of Yah are spared, and they're going to come bended knee to Israel. We already see this faith. Shout out to all our Gentile brothers. Alan Duckman, these brothers have sincere faith. We know Gentiles firsthand that are a part of this family, that believe in this family. They already know, and they're humbled, and they're accepting it, and they're grateful just to be a part of it. Those Gentiles are going to cleave to Jacob, cleave to Israel, and a lot of these nations that are left are going to bring the wealth of the wicked. Now, this is going to be prophetic fulfillment going all the way back to Egypt, when our people left the first bondage and we left with great substance. So when we go back to Zion, the wealth of the wicked is laid up for the just. The meek of Israel shall inherit the earth, and the nations shall come, bringing of their substance. Cedar trees of Lebanon. They're going to bring all the resources, the technology of heaven unto the children of Jacob, because in that day they gonna know, family. They gonna know that the Most High Yah is He whose going forth has been of old, even from everlasting to everlasting. We talked about this. So when the Most High get through showing up and showing out, you ain't gonna have to convince these nations that church replacement theology doesn't exist anymore. When that stuff happens, they're gonna be like, oh my goodness, we just want to be a part, spare us. Then they're gonna be humbled. These nations, in the pride of their countenance, shall be brought down low, and they shall indeed know that the Most High Yah is He, and beside Him there is no salvation. Beside Yah there is no creator. Beside Yah and His people there is no other way. And they gonna come bended knee, cleaving to Israel, saying, we will worship your God. And that's when we're gonna rule the earth in Torah, where the law, statutes, and commandments is going to be the foundation. Anybody that ain't keeping the high holy days, they're going to be put to death. And this is why I tell y'all, family, the Most High is having grace even on Israel in this season, because we're supposed to be rehearsing the righteous acts according to Judges 5:11. This is why we keep Torah. This is why we keep Pesach, or Passover. This is why we keep and honor the new moons. This is why we do these things as a dress rehearsal to understand what it's going to be like when Yeshua returns, when the Messiah returns, and we return back to Zion. That the earth is going to be ruled based on the laws, statutes, and commandments. Now let's keep reading. So in verse 2 it says, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Most High Yah for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, who captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. All praises be to the Most High Yah. We got to deal with that thing. Y'all done seen the viral video. Y'all done seen white people worshiping black people, where I showed y'all the image of the book that I have, the Vornay, right? And I've been trying to figure out what to do with that, family. I've been still trying to figure out how to get copies and how to do this thing. A lot of y'all been just really wanting that literature. But basically in that clip, I'm gonna put it on the screen, we see these Europeans going into slavery. Now, there are gonna be some Gentiles that are sincere, that are allowed to worship, that are allowed to be a part of Israel, and it ain't gonna be by force. But there are Gentiles, there are Edomites specifically, that's gonna be here. Now most of them gonna be wiped off, but they're gonna be Gentiles that are left that might try to buck, and they going in chains. And if they get too crazy, their head gonna roll on the ground. Facts. I'm just gonna keep it real with y'all. Anybody that comes against the Messiah, that comes against the 144, that comes against Israel, gonna be put to death. I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm saying that to be true and be honest with you guys. And y'all that are sincere Gentiles, that y'all don't have to worry about that. But anybody that tries to come against Yeshua, it's over with. Period. The Most High ain't playing no games. It's going back to the way it was when Israel was ruling. It ain't gonna be no democracy. This is gonna be a monarchy of a king, YESHUA, Mashiach, a dynasty, his people ruling the earth. You ain't gonna have no opinion. You ain't gonna be able to say, well, I think that we don't have to, you put to death. That's how it is, family. So we need to be thinking like that. So while this is going on, Israel's going to possess these Gentiles. The wealth of the wicked is going to Zion, and our people are going to rule based on Torah. Now, verse 3 it says, and it shall come to pass in that day that the Most High Yah shall give you rest from your sorrow, and from your fear, and from the hard bondage wherein you were made to serve. All praises. You all, there is a scripture that says, seeing it is a righteous thing for the Lord to repair evil to them that trouble you. All our lives, family, we've been taught by these Christian junkies.
That ain't right. That ain't Jesus. That ain't easiest way for you to be praying for deliverance and black folks praying for judgment on these nations?
Understand, our forefathers, they cried. You know what the Negro spiritual kumbaya means? Come by us, Yah. They pleaded. Our forefathers prayed for vengeance. They prayed for judgment. The Christian church teaches us that it's wrong to think that way. Now we see in Revelation chapter 13, verse 10, let's go to it. It says, for he that led into captivity shall go into captivity. This is the patience and the hope of the saints. Oh my goodness. Let's go. Yoruba, Bani Ephraim of the tribe of Joseph. This is the patience of the saints of Yah, to hope for the day when these nations are judged for what they've done, and when the Lord gives us rest from all this madness and alligator bait and Willie Lynch letter. Y'all check that video out, and COINTELPRO and all this wickedness that we've gone through. This is the time when the Most High said, I've counted every teardrop. I've counted every stress. I've watched and marked down every trouble that you've been through, and I ain't forgot about it. Oh my God. I ain't forgot about everything that my people have suffered. I ain't just sat by and said, well, y'all just, that stuff doesn't matter. You know, just wickedness exists. Everything that has happened to Israel, best believe all these folks that's out here watching and trolling, understand, the Most High is going to deal with it. He is going to retribute all of that wickedness. He's wrote every bit of it down. He got angels that their only job is to be scribes of all these events, taking notes, looking at all this wickedness. And that's what white folks fear, that, oh man, oh, please don't let it be. They're keeping track of this stuff. They're keeping track of it. Mr. Esau, everything that y'all people have done, the Most High gonna deal with that thing in the coming kingdom. Now that should make y'all humble enough to be like, we
need to do right by this people.
Exactly. If I told you that the Most High don't care about this stuff, a lot of these wicked Edomites would just keep on with business as usual. That's why this gospel of the kingdom has to go forth, as Yeshua said, to be a witness against the nations. So you can't say, didn't nobody tell you. Let's keep reading. So in verse 4 it says, that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, America the daughter thereof, and say, oh, how hath the oppressor ceased? Oh my goodness, Morph! The golden city, this is Babylon, this is America, has ceased. The Most High Yah hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in a wrath with a continual stroke. Y'all gotta hear what Isaiah's saying. He said, oh man, the oppressor, all that alligator bait, oh, have you come to an end, America? Oh, everything that you did, every time you kept oppressing God's people with a continual stroke, oh, look at you now. Look at the smoke of your torment. This is what we need to catch drive about, Zion. The Most High ain't forgot about these things. Let's keep reading. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Y'all understand that in Romans, Paul says, the whole earth groans for the sons of Yah to be revealed. When we're presented with our glorious body, understand, when the chariots come to pick us up, we're going to receive our eternal bodies. I think a brother asked a question about that. When Yeshua returns, when the Mashiach returns, we're going to be given the bodies and the celestial bodies that our forefathers once had. The bodies that allowed David to slay thousands of men. We're going to be restored in an eternal body, and we're going to be granted access to the tree of life. Eternal life. Y'all understand? We're going to be given eternal life. We're going to be granted these celestial bodies. The Most High is going to wipe away all of our tears and everything that we've gone through, and the whole earth is going to be renewed when our people are exalted. Because we see Paul say that the earth is waiting for the true sons of Yah to be revealed, that the earth is under oppression. When you look at the ozone layer, when you look at the animals that are going extinct, all of this is from this big business, this capitalism, all this wickedness, the ozone layer. You got penguins with Coke bottle 6-pack things around their neck. All of this has come from Esau's rulership. Y'all understand what I'm saying? Esau's era, the Edomite era, has introduced so many evils that have affected the planet Earth, that have affected vegetation, have affected the ozone layer, have affected all these things, that when Yah's people are revealed, when Zion is exalted, the whole earth is going to be at peace. So family, we're going to go deeper into this because after that millennial reign, I'm going to go into these great white throne judgments. But I hope y'all were blessed by this, right? I hope y'all got something. I hope you took notes, write these scriptures down, write these precepts down, and understand the gospel of the kingdom. That's what we're talking about. Israel being restored, the nations being judged, us going back to Zion, us ruling the earth in an era of peace, love, and Torah. All of the remaining Gentiles kicking and streaming, you going into captivity. The wealth of the wicked is laid up for the just. All of this, family, is the gospel that Yeshua preached. The good news to Israel, to let them know that that kingdom cometh, thy kingdom cometh, the will of the Father be done on earth as it is in heaven. So with that, family, peace, love, blessings, and black power to the chosen race of the Most High Yah, the sons and daughters of Zion, the E1B1A carrying kings and queens of the earth. Peace and blessings, family. I love you all with the love of the Messiah. I speak blessings. I speak courage over you and everybody that you come into contact with. I love y'all with the love of the Messiah. Shalom. All praises to the Most High Yah. Let's get